From the mud to the rise, yeah, we built it on the grind. Trench talk, real talk, leave the fake ones behind. We don't fold, we don't break, every move we define. It's the code from the trenches where the real ones align.
Yo, listen up, cause the streets of Chicago ain't just wild. They're full-blown war territory now. We got Venezuelan kill squads rolling deep, packing heat so insane even the feds are shook. These ain't your average thugs. These are Tren de Aragua maniacs, one of the most ruthless cartel-style crews on the planet, and they're turning Chicago into a battleground. 117 shot in just one stretch, 17 fully erased. Nah, this ain't crime, this is straight up occupation. And while these invaders set up shop, weak policies got them slipping in unchecked. No papers, no background, just pure chaos. Local OGs ain't just fighting for blocks no more, they're clashing with a full-blown foreign army. Tren de Aragua don't play fair. They kidnap, extort, and execute like it's their backyard. And guess what? Nobody's stopping them. You think this is just Chicago? Nah, fam. Entire cities in Aurora, Colorado are getting hijacked by armed squads. These ain't migrants looking for jobs. These are soldiers setting up bases. And while politicians play nice, real Americans are getting pushed out. Meet Tren de Aragua, Venezuela's ultra-savage crime syndicate, turning U.S. streets into their personal war zone. These ain't your local bangers. These are battle-hardened killers, running drugs, kidnappings, and straight-up military-style takeovers. At the top, Hector Nino Guerrero Flores, a psycho warlord who used to run his empire from inside a prison. That's right, Venezuela's Tocaron prison was his fortified HQ, where he ruled like a king while cops were too scared to step inside. But when Venezuelan forces finally raided it in 2023, guess what? He escaped. Now, this crime tsunami has crashed onto U.S. soil, riding the wave of unchecked migration to set up shop in your cities. Trump dropped the hammer. In 2025, the U.S. government labeled these savages as terrorists, meaning any member caught can get locked up or deported for good. But guess what? Liberal judges hit pause, letting these maniacs keep spreading like a plague. You think Mess 13 is bad? Nah, fam. Tren de Aragua is the new boogeyman, and they're smarter, deadlier, and harder to catch than any gang before them. These ain't your tattooed up bangers. These are elite crime commandos, slipping through the cracks like shadows. Unlike dumbass gangs like MS-13, who ink their loyalty for the world to see, Tren de Aragua plays the long game. They move stealth mode, no flashy signs, no dumb symbols, just cold-blooded crime in silence. Think Medellin Cartel 2.0, but with Venezuelan fury. The feds got a brand new system to smoke these snakes out, and it's savage. If you're Venezuelan 14 or older, no US papers, you're on the radar. These ain't just Chicago's problem. Tren de Aragua is literally taking over the world. From Brazil to Mexico, Peru to the US, they're the masters of human trafficking, drugs, and kidnapping. They even got alliances with Brazil's deadliest gangs. Venezuela tried to hit the reset button on Tren de Aragua like a PlayStation when it's overheating. Back in September 2023, 11,000 security forces pulled up to the Aragua Penitentiary Center, the gang's little headquarters, and turned that joint into a ghost town. Straight evicted them, no security deposit back. Fast forward to 2025, and Nicolas Maduro, the man who stays dodging real questions like a deadbeat dad, gets on TV during his little Bolivarian shield military flex. Bro was up there talking about how Tren de Aragua ain't even real. It's just a spooky bedtime story the ops cooked up to mess with Venezuela. Said they've been dismantled. Yeah, just like how Venezuela's economy been fixed, right? But hold up, cause his right-hand goon, Diosdado Cabello, wasn't trying to let the story end there. Nah, he jumped in on his propaganda soap opera, Con el Mazo Dando, airing out names like a snitch with immunity. Bro basically pointed at half the Venezuelan opposition and 4 former Colombian presidents, claiming they was the ones bankrolling Tren de Aragua like it's a startup, said they was mixing dirty dinero with cartel cash, running drugs, people, and even plotting to turn the National Assembly into Call of Duty multiplayer mode. Then, when Trump declared Tren de Aragua a terrorist gang, Cabello was like, yeah, cool, but your own government is really the one moving with them. My man flipped the script like a bad lawyer. But then, peep this, just days later, he switched it up again, talking about how none of the Venezuelans the US deported was even with Tren de Aragua. So which one is it, big homie? Is the gang still running plays, or did they disappear like Venezuela's food supply? Then you got Venezuela's attorney general stepping in like he actually runs things, saying they locked up 48 members and need extradition papers for the rest. He talking about 30-year sentences like Venezuela got some type of working justice system. Ain't nobody trying to sit in one of them janky prisons, bruh. This whole situation a clown show. Tren de Aragua out here moving like ghosts, popping up everywhere but nowhere at the same time. Governments pointing fingers, making accusations, running raids, but the gang still got more reruns than a 90s sitcom. Now the south side of Chicago. Yeah, that's a battlefield where the block's been at war longer than some countries. You got the gangster disciples born out of Inglewood when the supreme gangsters and black disciples mashed up like some unholy Voltron. Black P. Stones, them boys been holding down 83rd to 95, and they ain't exactly throwing community picnics. Vice lords mostly rep the west side, but best believe they got soldiers creeping in the south too. And the Latin Kings, structured like a Fortune 500 company but built on street business. Now, with all this already bubbling, here come some new players trying to make a name. Venezuelan migrants touched down in the Chicago, bringing heat with them. Tren de Aragua, a gang that don't play by no rules. They ain't just stepping, they storming in, clashing with the locals like they trying to rewrite the script of Southside politics. And if you thought these dudes was just hype, peep what they pulled off in Florida. They straight set up a retired Venezuelan cop like it was a mob flick. Had some women bait him into a hotel, got him feeling like he was about to have a good night, then boom. As soon as he hit his truck, 3 hitters were on him like wolves on fresh meat, left him laid out in the back seat like an afterthought. But here's the kicker. It wasn't no random hit. Nah, these boys had a mission. They was after the key to his safe, and once they had it, that man's whole life savings and gold, gone. Clean sweep. His family still screaming about the injustice, but the streets don't do refunds, homie. Then you got cats like Alvaro Boza, another ex-Venezuelan cop who barely made it out the game alive. Bro fled his own country cause he knew how Tren de Aragua gets down. They was murking law enforcement like it was just another Tuesday, and nobody was stopping them. No consequences, no trials, just bodies dropping and empires rising. Boza told a story that sounded like it came straight out of a horror flick. One of his homies in ARA State decided he wasn't bowing down to the gang, thought he could stand on business. Big mistake. These demons lit him up 50 times like he was a walking shooting range, but that wasn't enough. Oh no, these psychos went full Mad Max, tied his lifeless body to a motorcycle, and dragged him through the hood like a parade float. Message received loud and clear. Disrespect Tren de Aragua, and you don't just die, you get turned into a public service announcement. Now this chaos ain't just staying in Venezuela. These boys started in the prisons, but by the 2010s, they was spreading like a disease, touching down everywhere from the Caribbean to Colorado. Yep, you heard that right. Aurora, Colorado 2024. The mile-high city got a front row seat to the madness. Reports been popping up about these dudes pulling all types of foul moves, kidnappings, extortion, human trafficking. Basically, if it's illegal, they trying to get a cut. Then comes July 2024, a street beef in Aurora that popped off like a Call of Duty lobby. Heated words turned into flying lead, and next thing you know, the block lit up like a 4th of July cookout. Multiple bodies got hit, the whole neighborhood scrambling like it's a damn war zone. Miraculously, nobody clocked out permanently, but best believe the city felt that pressure. Aurora PD moved in quick, locked the area down, and started hunting. And guess who the prime suspects were? Tren de Aragua's finest. These wasn't just some random crash dummies. Nah, they was already on the police's most likely to end up in prison list. A few days later, the feds hit them where it hurt. Coordinated raids, mass arrests, and a whole lot of doors getting kicked in before breakfast. Charges? Oh, they stacked them up like a Jenga tower. Attempted murder, assault with a deadly weapon, illegal guns, gang activity. Basically, they ain't seeing daylight for a long time, but the saga ain't stopped there. A homicide in Aurora got linked straight to these Venezuelan goons. One of their hitters got caught stealing a motorcycle, probably trying to reenact their infamous body-dragging routine. But when a tow truck driver got in his way, dude pulled out an AR-15 like he was in a war zone. No negotiations, no hesitation, just straight menace energy. And Aurora looking like a Tren de Aragua-sponsored disaster zone. This ain't no regular hood drama. Nah, these boys got whole apartment complexes under siege, turning the block into a bootleg version of Narcos. SP Management, the property company that owns 3 buildings in the city, had to come out and wave the white flag, basically admitting that they lost control. These buildings? Certified danger zones. If you're trying to sleep at night, good luck, because the Tren de Aragua goons got the place hotter than an Arizona summer. Vandalism? Check. These crash dummies out here tagging every wall like it's their personal Instagram page, breaking windows like they trying to set a record. Whole spot looking like a war zone. Drug trafficking? Oh, you already know, these apartments done turned into drive-through dispensaries, but it ain't no legal business. Junkies pulling up like they at a McDonald's, except they ain't ordering no fries. Violence through the roof, shootouts, brawls, random people getting pressed just for breathing too hard near the wrong building. Residents scared to even check their mail because they might walk into a real-life GTA mission. SP Management trying to fight back, but let's be real, what's a flashlight to a flamethrower? They bringing in security guards and cameras like that's gonna stop demons who've been dodging the law since Venezuela. Even the police trying to step in, working with the property managers to get these certified hood terrorists up out of there, but Tren de Aragua ain't moving like some lazy corner boys. They organized, ruthless, and expanding. And speaking of expansion, guess where they slid to next? New York City. Yep, and let me tell you, Tren de Aragua came through like some straight up locusts, devouring everything in sight. What started as a few pickpockets and scam artists turned into full-blown war zone energy. These boys leveled up from stealing candy bars to airing out cops, and the NYPD scrambling like they just realized they left the oven on. You know it's different when a routine traffic stop turns into Call of Duty, NYC edition. Some Venezuelan wildcard wasn't trying to see them cuffs, so he upped the burner on 2 cops like he was auditioning for a Scarface remake. Meanwhile, Bronx gangs already had the block hot, dropping 21 shootouts in the last few months like it's a sport. The NYPD finally tried to do their job, and 36 gang members got their backstage passes to Rikers, but that's just a drop in the ocean. Now, if you thought Tren de Aragua was just running the usual hood activities, think again. These dudes got weapons inside food packages, smuggling Glocks in grocery bags like they trying to start a new meal plan called Bullet and Biscuits. Imagine thinking you about to crack open some Frosted Flakes, and instead, you find a whole Draco sitting next to the cereal. That's the level of wildness we dealing with. And where they bringing these weapons? City shelters. Yep, places meant for people down bad, now turned into cartel loading docks. Shelter workers out here trying to hand out blankets and accidentally distributing loaded handguns. It's so bad that the NYPD had to start inspecting food deliveries, because apparently the spaghetti ain't just coming with meatballs no more, it's coming with extended clips. The NYPD talking about increased surveillance and collaborating with shelter management. Man, that's like putting a band-aid on a shotgun wound. You dealing with a gang that runs entire prison systems back home, and you think a couple extra security guards gonna slow them down? They laughing at y'all. Jackson Heights, Queens was out here getting played like a damn game of Monopoly by the Tren de Aragua crew. These cats didn't just come through and snatch some chains. They set up shop like they owned the block. They turned Jackson Heights into their own personal flea market for stolen goods. Straight up, they had an open-air bazaar where everything was hot. We talking electronics, jewelry, designer bags. If it wasn't nailed down, it was getting sold right there in broad daylight. These dudes didn't just hit up the corner stores for some snacks. Nah, they're cooking up crimes on a full menu, from burglaries to muggings, all while running a damn underground economy like it was the stock market. Anything you wanted, they had it on deck. You want a Rolex? Take that. Need a PlayStation? That's in the back. Everything stolen, nothing was sacred, but it don't stop there. Tren de Aragua wasn't just getting their bread off stolen tech and watches. They were running the red light district of Jackson Heights like it was their personal casino, where sex, exploitation, and human trafficking were just part of the game. They got control of the area, making cash off the streets, shaking down locals, and running the place like it was a VIP-only club for criminals. Meanwhile, the NYPD was scrambling to clean this mess up, hitting the streets like a couple of guys trying to play cleanup after a party they weren't invited to. Undercover ops, increased patrols, man, they might as well be playing whack-a-mole. They smack one criminal down, another pops up ready to sell more stolen gear or turn another corner into a brothel. And the residents? They're over here like, yo, we just want to live without tripping over a dude trying to hustle us. But the gang's grip on the area is so tight, you can't even walk outside without running into someone who's in on the action. At this rate, Tren de Aragua ain't just terrorizing a block. They're redesigning the whole damn neighborhood for their own pocket. It's all chaos, all the time. September 2024, the Tren de Aragua crew was out here moving like a shadow, running a 24-hour brothel in Manhattan. Yeah, you heard that right. This wasn't just a spot for a quick buck. It was part of their whole operation. Prostitution, human trafficking, the whole damn 9 yards. The NYPD finally rolled up on it, like they were chasing a ghost, and hit the brothel with a raid that shook the streets. But here's the thing, one brothel ain't gonna stop the empire. This was just one piece in a much bigger puzzle. The gang's reach runs deeper than a mafia movie, and the cops are playing catch up. Now fast forward, and Tren de Aragua ain't just lurking in New York, they're expanding their empire to the south side of Chicago. Ain't no neighborhood safe. South Side has always been a battlefield, with gangs like the Gangster Disciples, Black P. Stones, and Latin Kings fighting for control. It's been like a turf war for decades, but now, here comes the curveball. Enter the Venezuelan migrants, and within that crew, you got Tren de Aragua rolling in like the new kings of the block. These Venezuelan cats didn't just show up looking for work, they came ready to recruit, form alliances, and start beef with anyone who's been holding down the territory. They didn't care about history, they're here to take over, push the old heads out, and show the streets they run the show now. And don't even get me started on the alliance they're trying to make with MS-13. Oh yeah, you thought this was a joke? They're out here mixing up numbers, gathering muscle, and they're setting their sights on taking over territories in Chicago, New York, and South LA. MS-13 and Tren de Aragua, that's a tag team of chaos right there. 2 violent forces coming together, and you better believe they're ready to smash any old crews that think they still run the streets. The moment they're solidified, you better believe there's gonna be fireworks, and the south side of Chicago is gonna feel like a war zone. The whole dynamics flipped, and the traditional gangs who thought they had the streets locked down, they ain't ready for this new wave of savages. The Tren de Aragua ain't here to play. They're here to take names, make moves, and start a whole new chapter of madness. They don't just roll in, they invade. And trust me, the streets are about to get hotter than they've ever been.